honest, so I can't really say too much. But I'm already gonna call a huge red flag. I'm just saying, man, these motherfuckers, they lie. You gotta understand, they're lying. People lie. What's up, guys? Today's video is literally just gonna be about other cooling products for your Steam Deck. I saw a video last night, thanks to you viewers. You brought this to my attention about a Peltier or Thermoelectric back cooler. Real quick, I am gonna be configuring and building my own, try to see if we can get it to actually work, because for the most part they more than likely will not work, just because of there's certain issues with them and cooling the Steam Deck. So the one I saw on a video of last night was this one, the Devaso. It was a Devaso cooling fan cooler semiconductor heatsink. This is a Thermoelectric cooler. It's $40 on Amazon, and if you watch ETA Prime's video, he tested this and it didn't work whatsoever for him. And I'm not very surprised at all why this didn't work. So real quick, how this thing works is you got this pad. It's called Peltier or Peltier, or however it's pronounced, or a Thermoelectric thing. Hot side, cold side. What it does is it cools one side and heats up the other side. Now, the other side, you need a fan to help dissipate that heat so it can stay cooler. Kind of basically how a heatsink works, just a better way. But it didn't work for him. Mainly, in my opinion, the reason why it didn't work is thermal contact. So the back shell of the Steam Deck, if you haven't watched the last video, you see that we made some modifications for a Steam Deck. You should check that one out. The main issue here is contact to the actual hottest components. We actually did some testing on the backplate and things like that. And the backplate, at the highest point on our backplate, the highest temperature we were able to get was 47 C. Like, so the backplate was only getting about 47 C. So it was running a lot, it was running a lot cooler than the whole system. So with this apparatus, all you're really doing is cooling the backplate, all right? So a cooler backplate doesn't mean a cooler system, because the backplate is just a backplate. It's not tied to any real thermal load or thermal capacity or thermal dissipation, however way you want to put it. It's not tied to the system, so cooling it down is not necessarily gonna bring any real effect. And that really showed, I don't know why this thing's flickering, that really showed in ETA's Prime video, and that makes perfect sense. If you follow some of the stuff that we were doing, cooling the backplate in general is not going to cause any real effect. So this thing is kind of not going to help. The way this thing would work, and I'm really curious why this thing's flickering, is if you had a metal, like the JSOX backplate. So if you had this JSOX backplate, you definitely would see some way better results than what ETA Prime got. So basically now the thermal load that's happening inside the Steam Deck is now getting transferred more into the backplate, because there's a aluminum plate that's embedded into the backplate that is connected to the heat shield. So there's a sandwich with, it goes backplate, aluminum heat plate, copper plate, attached to the aluminum heat sink, and then onto the hot components. Okay, so if you tie these two together, then you would definitely get a better cooling solution. But how cool, I don't know. In my opinion, the transfer of heat between the heat sink and to the aluminum plate is not going to be as great as you may think, because the overall contact points on that and the thickness of that heat shield that's underneath the Steam Deck is not that great. And you would need something a lot thicker to help absorb more heat and dissipate heat to certain other areas. But I'm sure it will help. But to what degree, I don't know. Here's the thing though. I have ordered this backplate, and I am going to run some tests on it. and to see how well it will work. I think it's not, I think you're going to get essentially stock performances in my, just from me just staring at it. And real quick, I did do a video on, why is this thing flickering so much? All right, hopefully I didn't break my monitor. That would suck. But one thing about this thing right here is, in my original video, I thought that the heat, the new plate, aluminum plate, was in the exterior. It's not. It's in the interior, which is going to help with temperatures. So that's going to be really, really good. A lot better than I originally thought. So I was wrong with that, but they have released new pictures showing that it is internally, which is going to be great. But will it actually help with thermal load? I will say it will increase thermal capacity, but overall it will not change any temperature, meaningful temperature on your GPU, CPU, or overall system. But what it is 100% going to do is right here. Right here, this area is going to get really hot, especially right around here. That's where your VRMs are. It's going to be very, 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 very hot. So it could be so hot that you potentially may be able to burn yourself. But I will do the tests for you. We have all the thermal gun. We have the thermal probes too as well, so we can really test the temperatures when we get this backplate. Before we get off the JSOX one, I do notice they added a couple new things. There's a new screwdriver, and they have these little thumbsticks on there, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, I ordered this thing. If you watch my previous video, I ordered this thing. I need a new backplate as well because we've done some things to it, and I think overall it's going to be a great thing to mod. If you had this backplate, one more time, if you had that backplate and this Thermoelectric or Peltier, if you combine these two together, it's probably going to cool your system pretty good. Like, I'm not going to lie. But this is 40, the backplate's another 30, so you're already spending $70 for maybe, I would assume, anywhere between, I would say at most 6 degrees, at minimum 4 degrees. And if you haven't seen the video we did this, we literally spent, this was 25 bucks. The fan was $15. Well, if the battery bank, if you don't even need a battery bank, if you just plug it into the USB-C port, so you don't even really need a battery bank. So it's 25, 15, it's 35. So that's, no, sorry, $40. So it's $40 for this if you have a 3D printer, and the print, this thing costs nothing. Like, this plastic costs nothing. And you know, the crazy thing is, we dropped, I think, oh yeah, so it was 78. I mean, it was 72 on the CPU and 68 on the GPU, from a delta of our stock form. From it dropped from, went from 78 on the GPU down to 68, so a delta of 10, and then the CPU was 80, and it dropped down to 72, so a delta of 8 with this cooler versus my version of stock. So I don't know, I don't think you're going to get better performance than that, and you're spending more money, and you're going to have a lot more bulk to it. I know we have more bulk here, but like I said, you don't even need the fans. Actually, you don't need them at all. It was actually cooler without the fan. Which is crazy. We didn't even need the fan. It was cooler without the fan. So, moving on. Do what you want with your money. I wouldn't buy this. I'll go hands down, I don't buy it. And another problem with this too is, I don't know the maximum wattage. So it's 9 volts, 3 amps. Apparently you can measure that, and 9 volts with 3 amps is 36 watts. I don't know how many watts this thing is pulling. So the lower the wattage, meaning the less power draw it is, the less cooler it will make your device. So the higher the wattage, the more cooling effect you have. And all I know is this is pushing 9 volts, and I don't trust it. And I don't trust anything anybody says. And then, so moving along, we're going to someone who brought this up to me. It's called the Cooling Dock Pro from Unitec. Looks really cool. So it has let's just go over what it has. It has a 100 watt PD charger, so it's great. So it charges. It is HDMI 2.1, which is amazing. Two USB A's, one USB C, and it's an 8K, which I don't know why you would need. Why would you need 8K on your Steam Deck? But the thermoelectric cooler is like the most important one. So the thermoelectric cooler, and yeah, is this the video? Let's go here. So this is the thermoelectric cooler that they're talking about. And basically, it looks like a dock with a fan on it. It does look like it has a metal plate on it as well. If you look in the front picture, it does look like it has a metal plate. But I don't know if there's a Peltier in there because they don't really talk about it. If there was, it would be slightly better. But obviously, because we know, and if you watch ETA Prime's video, the Peltier didn't work very well. But I don't know how strong this one is. Is it a 100-watt Peltier? Like, can it will it that, or is it just a fan on a plate, which it could be? It literally could just be a fan sitting on a plate. I love how they showed this picture too, because real quick, also it says Ethernet port, which is freaking pretty awesome. So it's a 5 volt. So it's a 5 volt. So maybe it isn't. I don't think this thing is if there's a Peltier in this, it's not very strong. I'm gonna say that right now. And also, if you see, this is what the inside of the Steam Deck is. One thing we know is the hottest running components are not where the majority of this plate is. They're actually on the far left of it. And I don't think it would actually, if you dead center it, would only probably cover at least half of the VRMs, not all of them, and our controller. It would definitely cover the controller and maybe a little bit of the APU. I would doubt it. I don't think it's even going to touch the APU. And the APU is where our CPU and GPU is at. So I think this is stupid. This is a stupid product. It's an overpriced dock. You get some great features like HDMI 2.1, the 100-watt PDP, which allows you to charging. But the cooling aspect is completely stupid. They sell docks a lot cheaper. So Steam Deck dock has 3 USB A's, 3.1 Gen 0.1, a display port, which is awesome. It doesn't have HDMI 2.1, which you technically don't need. It does up to 4K 60 hertz, 1440p, 120 hertz, which is great. But if it had 2.1, you would be able to do 4K 120. Big. This is an $80 dock, so it's a $90 dock. Okay, so it's you don't get a lot of features that you do get with the Unitec one. I'll tell you that right now, and it's not too much. Maybe the Unitec one might be kind of worth it. It might be kind of worth it because it does do HDMI 2.1, but then again, are you really going to be able to do 4K 120? So that's not going to happen unless you on a Steam Deck. Maybe that is not going to happen anytime soon. So they're really just, they understand what their system is handling. Also, apparently the multi-stream transparency enable multi-monitor support for FreeSync support. So if you're doing like multitasking 2 monitors on your Steam Deck, it should run a lot smoother, especially because it allows FreeSync. Not really too savvy on this stuff. USB-C delivery pass-through input, it's great, includes the cable. Yeah, so it's basically a really good dock. It's great. Like, it's great. It has gigabit. But honestly, I'm going to go back to JSOX real quick. If I were to buy a dock, I would 100% I think this JSOX one, if I'm on the right one, this JSOX one has pretty much everything you need, and it's a lot cheaper. It's basically the same exact specs of the Steam Deck, exact same specs. This got the PDP charging, right? Description 6-in-1, blah blah blah. It should have the PDP. I'm just gonna assume it does, because why would you not have that on a Steam Deck? But basically it's the same exact thing, and it's cheaper. It's way cheaper. It's half the price. So I would definitely, if I had to choose, I'd definitely get the Steam Deck. And they also got one with a PC M.2 slot, I believe, right? Yeah, so this is the one with the M.2 slot, 108. I think it's, if you need the storage, go for it. Honestly, I'm 90% of the time, if not all the time, I'm handheld mode. I don't need to dock. I don't need to dock because I have a freaking 4K monitor over there. I just don't need it. I have two systems. I get game on this or game on that. I'm blessed enough to do that. So I don't need a dock really. So I don't really, but if I were to buy one, this is the one I would buy. Not this one, because I don't need that much storage, but definitely this one, the $49.99 one. $44.99. This is the one I would go for. Okay, so moving down the list, Amazon has some other stuff. So this is stupid. You are actually cooling a lot more on this one than you are with this Unitec one, because you're actually hitting a majority of the APU and the hotter running components with this one, and you're cooling some random you're not even cooling anything with this other fan, but it's not gonna work. I'm gonna tell you now, this is a waste of $22. But if you still want to buy it, go ahead and go to AliExpress, because they have the same one for $13.87. How much is shipping? Is it free shipping? $3 shipping. No, $2.13 shipping. You'll probably get it in 2 months, but you'll save almost $10. So yeah, you'll save $10. So just get on AliExpress. Staying on AliExpress, here's one that I actually here's a mod that I actually like. This one is like the cheapest one you can physically buy, and I think I'm gonna, if it wasn't $8 shipping, I think I might have to pick up a couple of these. I think I'm gonna have to pick up a couple of these for some testing. But this is the best backplate you can buy, in my opinion, for thermal issues. So what we have going on in here, in that way. Okay, so what we got here is just vent holes. So one thing we do know, this is a negative pressure system, meaning all the air is going to come through what was the stock form, which was right here with a couple vents. Now you eliminate that one and you put a shit ton of vents. So air has a lot less air resistance. This thing is going to freaking work. It's probably going to be close, very close to what we did prior with just a vent here, but it'll be a little bit better, because now you'll have air coming through all this area. But here's a big crux with this. This is the issue if you do purchase this thing, which I think would be really good. You'd probably get the most results out of this one than anything else we've talked about. Here's the big issue with this one. So because air resistance is a problem in a Steam Deck, because air resistance is a big issue with the Steam Deck, what's going to happen in here is, since we have all these ventilation holes, there's a lot more spaces for air to go into. So air would come through here, into the fan, which is right here, and then shoot straight out of the top. So that's great. You're going to cool your system a lot faster. But here's the problem. Air is always going to find the path of least resistance. Most majority of the air is going to come through these top 4 vents right here, these top 4 vents. So all air is going to come in through here and then into the fan and out the top, which is going to be great. But there's a lot of components down here that have some proper issues. If you watch our first video on cutting this hole in the back, there was a lot of questions and concerns about your SSD, your controller, your VRMs over here, getting not enough adequate cooling. With my testing, I found that you were getting more than enough adequate cooling if and only if you basically redid all the thermal pads inside the heat shield, which would be behind here, meaning we thermal padded from the top down, we thermal padded our heat pipe that's connected to our fan. We thermal padded that, so we tied that into our heat shield, and watch the video if you want to know how to do that. And then we went ahead and so we thermal pad all the way up here. Then we had our MOSFETs and VRMs right here. We thermal padded that so they were like nice and even, good pressure on the heat shield. And we added one on our controller, and that was it for our thermal pads. But we also, what we did is, if you flip that plate over, and I'll show you what that plate is. this right here, that's your aluminum heat shield right here. So we put thermal pads on this heat pipe because it goes over here like that, and then we put if you flip this heat shield over, there's black tape, and I think it's like interference tape, so it's for magnetic issues, like so you don't interfere with the APU from like electromagnetic sources outside. I might be wrong, I might be butchering, it might be the wrong word. If you know the right word, please leave them in the comments below. But there's that black tape. I cut it out so that the thermal pads would make as much contact with this aluminum heat shield as possible. And with those findings, I think our hottest temp was on our VRMs, which was 75 degrees Celsius, and that's all within operating temperatures, like optimal operating. And I think the max temp on that, I think, is 105 degrees. I could be wrong, but it's pretty high. So if you were to get this mod, you definitely would be running that risk, because all the air is going to go through these top 4 vents, probably this one most, because I know there's an air channel right here. It goes up and down here. So most of the air would come through this, probably these top 4. Air is going to find the path of least resistance. It's not going to want to go over, it doesn't want to take a long journey. It's just going to go through here. So you might get some issues with overheating on the SSD or controller or VRMs, or might not. I don't know. I haven't tested, but I'm assuming it would, and I wouldn't risk it. So if you were to get this, my suggestion is, if you were to buy this, you'd have to do a thermal pad upgrade on your system to make sure that your VRMs and your MOSFETs and your controller and your SSD all stay in a very cool temperature. Okay, so going back to JSOCs, man, I didn't mean this to be such a long video. We're going to talk about their cooler. I've been bashing this cooler for a while now. Not bashing it, I'm just talking about it. I'm just bashing it because I don't believe this up to 18C. I don't think you'll get anywhere near that unless you put it in, I don't know, like put dry ice in the intake. I don't know how you would do that, but this is all bullshit. But the only reason why I bring this up is there's clones popping up now. So this thing is $49.99. Yeah, if you go to AliExpress, you can buy the exact same thing right here. And this is the one I saw actually on YouTube, these clips. And this is what they're saying. I just don't believe it. Like, you could just, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. How can you trust it? I just don't know. I've done my testing, and what they're saying right here is before use it was 81, and then he dropped it down to 66 and 78 on the Jeep and this on the CPU. I don't know. I've seen, and then 10 minutes after 1 minute before use, so it's like right here it's 78, 62. But one thing you can see, man, these fucking fan speeds. Look at this. So they're claiming they got 67 on a CPU, but their fan speed's 5,300, basically 5,400 RPMs is their fan speed. So maybe, if it is true, your trade-off is a freaking super loud, super duper loud fan internally, and you'll also have this freaking behemoth on there. Like, it's gonna, I mean, it's not that big, but you'll also have this thing blowing air out as well. I just don't think this is gonna work very well. I'm not trying to be a hater and all that, but I just think these claims they're doing and all of this stuff, I wouldn't trust this. Hell no, I wouldn't trust none of this stuff that they're saying. I'm just saying, man, these motherfuckers, they lie. You gotta understand, they're lying. People lie. I'm not saying that you need to believe everything I'm saying. I'm just saying, from my experience on my testing, from what I've done, these claims are crazy. This video is long. But here's one thing that I'm finding. Boom. They claim to be 8-bit dough. So 8-bit dough is a controller company, and they do a lot of stuff for the Steam Deck. Not Steam Deck, Steam Switch, I mean. And I don't see this thing in their product page. Why would you not show this on your product page? And just look how clean their product is. Look how clean their products. They got their logo. It has their let's go click here on our mod. Game pads. Like, they do some pretty. I have a few 8-bit duo, or one 8-bit duo stuff, and they have good products. It's a high quality, from what I can tell, high quality products. This is not an 8-bit product. I'm gonna tell this out. There's no branding, no nothing. So they're not only giving you these crazy claims right here. You don't know if they're. I don't know. There's just, they don't show any real testing, other than just the front of it. They don't show you how it works, explain it, or I didn't really watch the video, to be honest, so I can't really say too much. But I'm already gonna call a huge red flag, based this on that they claiming to be 8-bit though, and this has no 8-bit though branding whatsoever. So why would a company, so well known as 8-bit, sell a product on AliExpress for $76.86, then discount it, don't put their own branding on it, and have nothing on it on their actual website? They don't even make Steam Deck accessories, apparently. My opinion, for what it's worth, stay the fuck away from this. Stay away. Be careful on this one. Let's go. Stay away from this. I'd stay away from this as well. Definitely stay away from this. But if you're gonna buy it, get it at AliExpress. That's the more expensive one on Amazon. Definitely stay away from the Unitec thing. This thing is bogus. This thing is bogus central. And if you do want the Unitec one, get the dock from JSOX, the JSOX dock, because this is bullshit. Calling bullshit on that. Bullshit on this as well, but that's already been proven. And the only thing I would recommend is not that, is this backplate. This backplate will work. It will work, but I would highly suggest do the thermal pad upgrades on here if you're going to do this backplate. What else? I would stay away from the Steam Deck dock as well. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm not like I said, this is my opinion, and it's up to you if you wanna listen to me. I just know from my experience, from tinkering and modding my very own Steam Deck, that these claims and these things that these people are saying on the internet are fucking lies. Like, you gotta understand, these companies, their whole point is to make money, so they'll say anything to make money. And these motherfuckers are Chinese. They don't freaking care. They don't fucking care like what kind of claims they're sending fentanyl to the United States already, for God's sake. Do you think these people care about whether or not you believe their claims? Luckily, if you buy it on Amazon, you can freaking return it, because you should. This thing is a piece of crap. It all would work. This though, I won't lie, I'll take that back. I'm gonna take this back, and we'll end this video this way, because we shouldn't end anything on a super negative note. This will work great on your cell phone. This will work amazing on a cell phone, especially if you have a hot backplate, because yeah, it's gonna work amazingly. This would work amazing on a cell phone. It's just not gonna work well on a Steam Deck and a laptop. This will not work on a laptop, because they claim laptops. It will not work on a laptop, because you had the same issue with a laptop. You have this plastic case, and you can't transfer heat through that very well. It insulates the heat. And if you cool that down, it's not really going to cool down the whole system, because they're not tied together thermally. But other than that, my name is Nas. Sorry for this long-winded video. Spend responsibly. I wouldn't buy all this hot garbage trash. Save your money. Cut a hole in your Steam Deck, which is basically this one. Put thermal pads in there, and you should be pretty much good to go. You're going to drop temps by at least 8 degrees. And even if you don't buy this and you cut a hole and you buy thermal pads cost you $12 if you had decent ones. So it's going to be a $12 mod in general. So if you have any questions, and I understand that I don't have any of these products, remember, this is my experience tinkering. So take that for what it's worth. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And then I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that's been subscribing and commenting and liking the videos, because it's been really helping a lot. We've jumped 250 subs in less than a week and a half, which is amazing, coming from like 38, 40 subs. Pretty happy about that. And I just want to say big thank you to everyone. Hopefully you like this video. If you like videos like this more, please ask me questions on what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'm gonna be more than happy to give you my opinion. And now my mouth is getting cotton mouth. I need to drink some water.